Perhaps the most important words any self-defender needs to know are de-escalate, escape, and evade. If you want to keep your shooting skills primed, you have to regularly dry fire. Manus X is the best dry fire tool available to help you to stay sharp all the time. I use it every week. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson out of Brazil. I'm not positive where in Brazil, so if you have a news story, put it in a comment, I'll add it to the description. We're gonna see a couple of guys roll up to do some mayhem on their moto, and they're gonna be left holding an empty bag. You see all these folks just kind of out on the curb here, and this is pretty common in some parts of the world. They're just enjoying the weather outside, and they're right next to the street though, and we're gonna see these guys roll up on their moto, and everybody's paying attention to them. As they start to get off, everybody runs off real quick and gets the heck out of the danger zone, such that those guys get back on their bike and head off on their way, and that is where this one ends. That one actually made me kind of chuckle. I thought it was funny what ended up happening there. Did you know that channel memberships have opened up here at Active Self-Protection? Our channel members get a monthly question and answer session just for them. They get exclusive content on the community tab and a bunch of other great stuff as well. So if you want to support the channel, please hit that join button. I would sure appreciate the support. Out of this particular lesson, I want to talk about awareness, particularly awareness in your cultural context. I want to talk as well about getting out of the danger zone and how good an answer that usually is. First of all, let's think about transitional spaces here. You got to recognize that anywhere you're on the street, that allows somebody to pull up quickly. And very particularly in your culture and in your world, if you see a lot of moto robbers or something like that, and again, that's not necessarily as common in the United States as it is in all of Central and South America. Also, we're starting to see these kind of things really pop up in places like the UK. And you got to recognize if you're in a place where those guys can jump up in a hurry, anywhere that a bad guy can get an easy ambush on you and easily get away is a transitional space and a place that you should be more aware. Now, when we talk about awareness, these people are all just enjoying their day. Nobody's paranoid, but everybody is paying attention to their world. And when these two guys show up on the moto, people are going to start to pay attention to them. Now, in particular, two men on a motorcycle, again, in their environment is a threat. Now, that may not be the case in your environment, but what that reminds us all about is we have to know our culture. We have to know exactly what the threats might look like in our culture. Here in the US, that may mean something like at a convenience store or a gas station. Knowing somebody who is loitering is probably a problem, whereas in other places that may not be the case. So knowing your cultural area and what the potential threats are and what the robbers like to do in your area is important. Now, awareness. Notice the fact here that as these guys are coming by, everybody's paying attention to them. Now, this in the color code, in Colonel Cooper's color code, is when you go from yellow to orange. And orange is not fighting, that's red and black. But in the orange mode, something's out of place. Two guys rolling by on a moto is a little out of place. Might it be normal? It could be, but you go from just generally aware of your surroundings to, hey, I have to investigate to make sure that I keep myself safe. Now then, when they just stop on the motorcycle and pull over, that's when we say, nope, I got to do something to protect myself. Very high likelihood of problems here, and we're going to see everybody start to act. So now we go from condition orange to condition red. I have to go and do something to keep myself safer. And what these people do is they get out of the danger zone. Far better than fighting the fight, if you possibly can, is getting out of the fight to begin with. And de-escalation, escape, and avoidance should always be our first choice as self-defenders because it ends the threat to us quickest if it's possible. And these people all get the heck out of there. And also notice how demoralizing that was to our robbers. And with no victims around, they had to go elsewhere and try to find themselves somebody to victimize. Well, that's not our responsibility to make their day. It's our responsibility to protect our families. So know the threats in your area, be aware, get out of the danger zone to cover your asp.